really interesting topic that I came across recently during all my research. As you know, everyone in the world is pretty much completely obsessed with protein. So some of you guys, you're probably fully aware of the subtle differences in the amino acid profile between plant-based proteins and animal-based proteins. The one biggest difference between plant-based proteins and animal products is the methionine content. So this is the one amino acid that is quite a bit higher in animal foods. Most plant-based sources of proteins are relatively low in methionine, and there's a handful of plant-based foods which have got like a reasonable amount. Most animal-based products, they have like quite a high amount of methionine. So obviously, as you know, any of the meat-headed idiots getting around on the internet, they'll immediately claim, oh, it's got more methionine, it must be superior, it's a complete protein, right? Okay, first of all, the idea of complete and incomplete proteins is completely redundant because the body can pull amino acids during the day. So anyway, as we know, you don't actually need to get complete proteins all the time. All you need to get is amino acids. So, I mean, if you're living in Africa and you're relying on like a charity or like a government agency to give you one staple food source and it's the only thing you can eat for the rest of your life, then it's important to consider the idea of complete proteins, okay? But as soon as you start having a variety, it kind of becomes irrelevant. So anyway, getting back to the topic of methionine. So in the 1990s, researchers found that when they fed rats with a diet that was particularly low in methionine, it increased their lifespan by around 30 to 40%, okay? This is absolutely massive, okay? It's actually 30 to 44%, my mistake. Imagine you've got an average lifespan of what? 70 years, okay? Add another 44% onto that. You're going to live to 100 instead of 70, okay? It's a huge difference. The other thing that they noticed is they could even feed the rats more. They could feed them more calories. By simply emitting all this excess methionine, they were able to maintain lean mass without getting obese. And there's studies as recent as last year that are showing methionine restriction resulting in better neuromuscular function, better lung capacity, improved metabolic health, and preservation of lean mass. They just gave them less methionine. So because plant foods have less methionine than meat foods, being a vegan means you're pretty much automatically following a relatively low methionine diet. It's not a full methionine restriction like they do in the tests, but you're already kind of halfway there. And this could be one of the reasons why we see an increased lifespan, increased longevity, and reduced all-cause mortality in vegans and vegetarians. There hasn't been thousands of studies, but there is really quality evidence that shows methionine restriction, it extends lifespan, and this has been proven through various different species. It delays age-related diseases, and it improves various biomarkers. It improves metabolism and insulin resistance, okay, which is so pervasive. Almost the entire adult population has some issues with insulin resistance. Type 2 diabetes is absolutely just going crazy throughout the Western world. And the methionine restriction, it even reduced fat in the liver, okay. We also know that there's various different types of cancers and tumors that rely on methionine for growth. So as soon as you're restricting methionine, you're pretty much automatically reducing incidence of cancer. I did do a quick Google search, and there has been some studies into longevity and all-cause mortality in bodybuilders. Now, these guys, they typically have diets that are very high in animal products, very high in animal proteins, very high methionine diets. And some of these studies, they showed average lifespan of some of these bodybuilders of being like late 40s, okay? These guys are dying before they get to 50. You know, there wasn't enough data to prove that it wasn't just all the steroids that they take. It is an indicator that all that methionine, all those animal products were likely a contributing factor. So that's just a little bit of evidence on the other side of the coin. So from my perspective, if you could consider the fact that simply by not eating corpses, you could potentially extend your lifespan by 44%, that is absolutely massive, okay? So, you know, I've never cared about going to the gym and lifting up pieces of metal. As you can tell, I'm not like a buff guy or something. If you put it in perspective, for me, life is extremely valuable, okay? Not everyone sees it this way, but for me, being alive is very precious. And, you know, I had to fight to stay alive quite a bit, so I have a different perspective on these things. But which is more valuable for you? You know, being big, growing a few extra kilos and impressing people, or being able to live. If you could choose, I want to be a buff guy for 40 years and then die, or I just want to be a normal guy, I want to eat relatively healthy and live quite healthy until I'm 90, 100. Like all these guys in the blue zones. I'm not sure if I've already discussed the blue zones in my videos yet. I definitely will if I haven't already. I think a lot of you guys already know about the blue zones. So what if the entire of human society, everybody's desperately trying to build muscle, everybody's desperately trying to eat protein. We know exercising is healthy, okay, but what if some of what we're doing is counterproductive to our own health? I don't need to talk about all the studies on cardiovascular health, all the heart disease issues that come along with animal products. But I just wanted to talk about the methionine restriction because that is particularly interesting from a vegan perspective. Instead of doing methionine restriction, you could just do corpse restriction, okay? I'm doing a corpse restriction diet. It's going to extend my lifespan by 45%. Just do that. Everyone will be happy. The animals won't die. You'll be healthier. And the environment is going to be a lot happier.